Alright boys, it's that time of the month where I gotta inform you about the upcoming events coming to the NA version of the game, that being for the month of November, and it's not looking like it's going to be super insane. I mean, Imaginary Scramble over here is basically going to keep going until about the first week of November, ending on the 9th, so we still have this for quite a bit, a week and some change, but then we're going to be moving into a download campaign, and then most definitely getting 5.5 and maybe being able to fit in the summoning campaign for Ibuki. So we're going to talk about all that and more in today's video, but if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that sweet daily FGO content. Also, if you're like, hey man, I wish I could see this guy play some FGO or do summons live, all that good stuff, I do that every weekday over on my Twitch, linked in the description down below, and I usually start at about like 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But with all that being said, let's just talk about some of the events that we're going to be getting and things that you can expect for the month of November. First and foremost is going to be the download campaign. This one, if you're really excited for Murasaki, she does actually come back. That's kind of one of the main highlights over here. But if you're not going to be summoning for Murasaki over here, there's actually a lot of Saint Quartz to be gathered here. For one, you have these additional limited extra missions, right, that are going to be coming out, and these blue cubes in preparation for Lost Belt 6, right? Because basically these are kind of like revival cubes. So instead of using your Saint Quartz or your command spells to revive yourself, you can start stockpiling on these for hard fights like Serranos, I know is going to give a lot of people trouble. The Bargus fight, I know, can kind of give some people some struggle as well. The Melusine one can also, or I guess the Albion fight can be a little more difficult for people. So you might want to save these for some of those. Also, Woodwoos, I think some people also struggled with a little bit in Lost Belt 6. I mean, the difficulty definitely ramps up a little bit, and if you don't have like a more insane box, or maybe you're missing out on specific servants that do trash some of these boss fights, this can be a really good way for you to actually kind of even the odds a little bit. But even outside of these, we have the craft essence missions that should be dropping as well. Basically, if you can just level up a craft essence to level 100, you get a whole bunch of Saint Quartz, right? It's pretty easy to do. I recommend that a lot of people just, not CE bomb and like level up every one of your craft essences to level 100. But if you've got some good ones, definitely level them up. Like, okay, well, like weird flex for me, but I was finally able to get my own super scope, right, eventually on the NA version, and you got to make sure that you level that thing up to level 100, because that's extra attack that you're getting, right? That's like more 2k attack, which really does help you out a whole lot. So this is something that you should do anyway. Like, you should just get one of these things to level 100 if you've got just like a decent, even like some of the free-to-play CEs, right? The ones that are like, oh, you start off with like 50% charge and it's an attack CE, and then maybe it gives you like buster damage and crit damage, just something like that you could just generically apply to a lot of different buster servants, might be something really good to go for, right? If you need actual suggestions, you can come into the Discord, or you can ask me on stream. You could be like, hey, I have this CE, do you think this one is worth taking to level 100? We'll go over that. But generally, you want to do it with the attack CE, so you can get that max like 2000 attack. But also, more importantly, or maybe not more importantly, but you also get 10 tickets, right? You also get 10 million QP. I don't think anybody should really be struggling that much for QP unless you've already spent all of the QP you got from the Skyhawk Fest. But hey, if you did, you're gonna get 10 million QP. The apples here are also really insane, because more or less you want to kind of save these gold apples for Christmas, because as you can see, it's going to be one of the things that's going to be coming up after this stuff here in November, right? Like, so probably like maybe beginning of December, mid-December, this event should probably be dropping, and that's going to be a lotto. So you can almost use this to kind of prepare for that and start stockpiling up your apples again. But that's pretty much it for the 22 million downloads campaign. Then we have the pre-release campaign for Lost Belt 5.5. This brings a whole lot of stuff to the game. So it's bringing servant buffs for all three of these guys. It's bringing back Kintoki, Raiko. Like, you just get like a whole lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. You might actually, if you're like me, be tempted to summon for Kintoki, because he will get this really sick outfit for 5.5. So that might be a little tempting to summon on this banner. That's kind of stuff that I'm like, I kind of wish they would do more in the future. Like, hey, we like brought this servant back, and then boom, drop like a really new dope costume on them. Because this literally, like, for me personally at the very least, completely transformed me from, not really wanting to summon Kintoki at all to being like, I got to get my hands on this guy because he looks so cool. But yeah, that's pretty much the major thing coming on over here. There's really not a whole lot else going on for the pre-release campaign. So if you don't really care to summon on this, you'll have a little bit of time to maybe recover, grind some free quests, do some interludes and such to prepare for 5.5, which is kind of like a major story chapter. It's going to bring new farming material. So I hope you guys are ready to be a farming for new stuff. More farming hell. Yes, more stuff that I need, more materials that I need to get. It's like awesome. Super ready for that. But probably for a lot of people, the more important thing is that Doman's going to be coming out. Doman's obviously really popular. He's obviously really good. So if you decide to go for Doman right now, I don't blame you. He's one of the servants that, like, when I tell people that, hey, make sure you maybe save your Saint Quartz, because, you know, Doman's also coming out later, and, you know, Doman's obviously really strong. And then maybe if we're, like, lucky and they kind of scrunch everything together, we might get Ibuki's banner. Ibuki is definitely worth going for. I mean, I consider her just like one of the best sabers in the game in general. Like, she just does everything, right? She just does everything you would want a DPS saber to do. She's just really insane. And you could also use her for buster farming. And now that we know that that's kind of going to be a big deal when Koyenskaya comes out, you know, it might not be a bad chance to go ahead and scoop up Ibuki. But she also does get, for us on NA, it should be another rate up like towards the end of next year, if I remember correctly, but I might have like my year, like 2 year ahead thing kind of mixed up, but I believe it's like towards the end of next year for us, we should get another Ibuki rate up. So if you don't get her here, I wouldn't sweat it too much. I will also say though, that if you're going to go really hard on the Ibuki banner, this Charm of Love CE is actually not super bad if you can get it max limit broken, because it's functionally going to be 50% starting charge, and then it's also going to be like Demonic Bodhisattva, giving you this NP charge for 2 stages for 1 time, which is really nice. The debuff success thing, like if you can find like a servant to smack that on, like, I don't know, like Kama would be kind of good, I guess, because Kama wants the charm, and the NP charge state gives her like more quick, which is always really good. So just saying, if you go really hard on the banner and you manage to like max limit break this thing can be really good. It is also, ironically enough, an attack CE as well, like we were talking about earlier. But that's really it going forward for the month of November. There's not a whole lot of craziness going down. I feel like it's going to be, for a lot of people, finishing up Imaginary Scramble, the 22 million download, whatever, I forget what download campaign we're on for the NA version. I think it's like 18 or 19, but you know, this will come out, and if you're not really hyped about Murasaki, it's at least really good to give you a lot of Saint Quartz for the master missions, and if you just log in every day, you get your tickets and your apples and all that good stuff, and then, you know, 5.5 starts, and, you know, you read that for the story and whatnot. And if you're really hyped for, like, Doman and potentially getting Ibuki later on in the month, like, maybe they could squeeze her in. That can be hyped for a little bit of people, but unfortunately, if you're someone that doesn't care about any of these servants, and you're not a huge story guy, which I would ponder why you're playing FGO, if you're not a story dude, but if you don't really care about the story or anything, this might kind of be a lame month for you. It might not be super exciting, but at least for next month, right, you can definitely look forward to like getting a Lotto event coming out. And I'm kind of excited to see how they actually choose to pace this, right? Because are they going to bump this down into December, then this is like mid-December, and it kind of like closes out the year-ish, and then they, I don't know, throw us like a little winter campaign, because they always do that for us on the NA version. They're like, let's just take some random banner that JP got for like a movie or something and throw it your way as like a fall campaign or a winter campaign. So keep in mind, one of those is probably going to just show up randomly at some point in the next like 2 months. I would definitely expect that as well. I mean, last year, it was the like the Ozymandias and Arthur banner that they like repurposed. So I would expect something like that to maybe get tossed our way, because, you know, they can't really bump up the New Year's thing, because Muramasa is supposed to come out for New Year's, and I don't think they're gonna like move Saber Wars 2 to like before New Year's, right? They might do that if they're really good on like their time management, and they really do want to kind of like start moving things along, because we're a little bit ahead of schedule. But it's like, if they want to do that, it's like they perfectly can. It's like, I don't know. So we'll see what they decide to do, because, you know, FGO is always like, oh, we're like slowly catching up, and then they're just like, nope, we're just gonna drop some random banner. It's like, oh, never mind, all right. And then, you know, notoriously, like with Oku, they just like for some reason delayed it for like 2 months for no reason. But with all that being said, I hope this helped you guys out and kind of like, you know, maybe got you hyped a little bit and everything. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited about, if you're excited about anything at all for the month of November. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.